The relationships that you meet in adulthood, as in your partnerships, you'll quite often believe that you have a type. You will believe that you are naturally drawn to certain women and certain men because this is the type of person that you fancy. This is the type of person that you know you're drawn to. But one of the underlying problems of this is you are only ever drawn to the energy of the people that you're used to. And what this means is you will believe that your type is a man or woman who is very strong, emasculated, but also emotionally unavailable, likes a drink, maybe shouts a bit, can be a little bit aggressive because they're manly, or a woman who is dominating and a woman who likes to have everything in place. You may believe after meeting partner after partner that this is your type. Well, I must be drawn to these people. There must be, a relationship that I'm meant to have with these people because that's where I'm drawn. But the truth of the matter is, you don't have a type. You have an energy that you are drawn to. And the energy that you are drawn to is the energy that you are used to. When you have grown up environments with parents who were emotionally unavailable, a mum or a dad, parents who maybe suffered addiction, parents who suffered mental health, parents who maybe had a victim mindset, no blame on the parents, but just recognising the energy of some of the parents who've grown up with. Parents who shouted or were a little bit dominating. When you grow up in that energy, that is the energy you feel comfortable with because it's all you know. It doesn't make you feel good. And it's not the energy that you like, but over time, from a child, it's the energy that you know. You become accustomed to what you know. And one thing that humans do is they seek out familiarity. You will seek out the energy that you are used to. So one of the common themes, especially when I'm working with my clients, is, especially when it comes to love and relationships, the type of people that they are meeting and the type of people that you are meeting are potentially the type of people, the energy that you grew up in. When we explore our love relationships, we can recognise that quite often we will seek male partners just like our father, emotionally unavailable, dominating, or maybe suffering addictions, or maybe absent. We can seek mothers who may be controlling or emotionally chaotic up and down. And we end up replicating relationships because of the energy you're used to. And when you replicate energy, or when you replicate relationships with that kind of energy, and you don't realise that actually it's unhealthy, you stay stuck in that. And that is why so many people stay stuck in unhealthy relationships. Because for one, they believe it's all, it's what they're meant to have because it's all they know. For two, it's all they know. And for three, they don't know how to change it. You believe that by changing it means you have to change your partner. You'll believe that if only your partner acted different, then things would be different. But that's not true. Because as we know in something called mirroring, we know, especially in psychology, that what you have in front of you is a mirror of what you are. So if you have a partner that is emotionally unavailable, there is a part of you that's emotionally unavailable. And emotionally unavailable doesn't mean that you can't show love. It doesn't mean that you don't connect in love or sex. It means that when conflict arises, you will shut down. Emotionally unavailable means that when something needs to be emotionally explored, you both will have unhealthy ways of doing things. You will either scream and they will shut down, or you will shut down and they will shut down, or you'll both scream. There will be an unhealthy connection there. If you grow up in an environment of shouting, you may become somebody who avoids conflict at all costs, but you'll meet somebody who shouts because the energy is there. Because unless you can understand that conflict is needed and it needs to be healthy, you won't meet somebody who knows how to have healthy conflict, because you don't know. You're only used to unhealthy behaviours. And you will believe healing those unhealthy behaviours means suppressing them. So I don't want to be angry, so I'm never going to show anger. But anger turned inward creates depression. Some people can't shove anger down for long enough, and what happens is they become emotionally dysregulated. One minute they're angry, next minute they're not. You have to learn to validate these emotions. But believing that you have a type is going to keep you trapped in unhealthy relationships. If you are in a relationship that has some unhealthy behaviours, recognising them in yourself first can greatly help you heal them with somebody else. People mirror people. Most people. Some people are so unhealthy and toxic that they don't want to change. They don't want to mirror. But most people, where they can, will mirror somebody else. If you start to heal yourself and start to lovingly connect with somebody and hold somebody accountable, quite often they will then start giving you the same back. They will start meeting you at that energy, because energy attracts energy. Or if they don't, you will start exploring the fact you need to leave. And this is why a lot of people who heal end up leaving the relationships, because at the place they met that person initially, the energy was completely disconnected and discorded. And as they start healing and realising their energy's changing and their worth, and the other person can't necessarily meet them, it has to be a separation. But quite often, if we do the work within ourselves with the aim of hoping our partner's going to mirror us, that means it doesn't just become about self. It becomes about, how can I show up to my partner in a more loving way? Now, this does not work for relationships where there's physical abuse, mental abuse, or abuse where it's hugely toxic. This won't work for that. But for most relationships where each human is trying to show up in the best way they can with some unhealthy behaviours, by you starting to work on how you show up, learning to communicate more healthily, and every time you feel you want to shut down, you go back and face it. By learning to show love, by learning to validate yourself and validate them. But the core concept is, you will keep meeting what you think is your type and staying stuck in that part of your type, because you don't realise you're just replicating old wounds and energy. When you recognise that everything that is around you is being mirrored from what is within you, and this is one of the hardest realisations that people don't want to face. People believe that it's the other person that's the problem. And while that is half true, and you have met somebody that is half the problem, you are also part of the problem. And even though people in domestic when we're talking about relationships and we're recognising that one person is being, nobody deserves to be assaulted, nobody deserves to have domestic abuse of any kind. But that never ever means that the other person is blameless, because you always have to explore, why did you pick that person? And this is things that people don't want to talk about. We talk about victim and perpetrator, and there is cases where there is victim and perpetrators, when things just happen to you and you're a victim and there has been a perpetrator. But when it comes to relationships, while there is a perpetrator and you are a victim, you still have to explore, when you've left that relationship, why. Why did you pick that person? Because otherwise you will pick that person again in somebody else. Why did you accept behaviours that were unhealthy? What were you taught as a child to put up with? This is how you empower people to heal from their type. You can't connect with people better until you understand why you're meeting certain people. That means you have to understand who you are. You have to understand how your childhood has given you experiences that have affected you. You will know when you're in a healed place when you start to meet Not necessarily people that are completely healed, but people that are willing to communicate with you, are willing to support you where they can, are willing to show up in that friendship or relationship. And you can only start meeting healthier people when you start also becoming the healthier version of yourself. Healthier version of yourself means looking at your behaviours, looking at what you accept. What you give to yourself is as bad as what you don't give to yourself. Having boundaries is one thing, but if you don't learn self-love or compassion and you don't give yourself nurture, those boundaries just become walls.